John Pollock here alongside Robin Black coming out of UFC 206 from Saturday at the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. This main card, Robin, I mean, you can go up and down. I mean, the tone was set early on with Lando Venata with an incredible spinning wheel kick in his victory. But let's go to the top. Max Holloway is now the interim featherweight champion. Avoids a lot of chaos in that scene after Anthony Pettis missed weight. The title was only on the line for Max Holloway. And now we have our proverbial title fight in Jose Aldo and Max Holloway.
Yeah, it's definitive, and that's what Holloway needed to do. He needed to go out there and really make it clean, and that's not easy to do, man. That's still Anthony Pettis over there. You can talk about the missing weight and the extra pressure and all those things. You're still looking over there, and that guy's Anthony Pettis, the Anthony Pettis, and he went out there and treated him like just any other opponent and slowly took him apart, learned a little more and a little more as the fight progressed, and got better and better, and yeah, he got that thing done. He got it done clean. That's undeniable.
Do you like the decision by Anthony Pettis? He stated after the fight, the weight cut is just too much and going back to 155.
You know, I think we'll probably talk about Donald Cerrone in this chat while we're here. And Donald Cerrone is an example of what you can do when you don't cut as much weight. You know, we say Frankie Edgar was the lightweight champion of the world, and by today's standards, he's a bantamweight. You know, we are seeing more and more examples of this, and maybe it's for the best. And I think it's the right thing for Anthony to fight at 155. And you feel for him. He's a special talent, and you hope that he gets all these things together and he gets back to being one of the best in the world.
You mentioned Donald Cerrone. He got his fourth win of 2016. It's been a tremendous year for the Cowboy, coming up in weight, as you mentioned, to 170 pounds, and I feel his toughest fight of the year against Matt Brown.
It was, and when he's out there and he is fighting because he gets to fight, not because he has to fight, you know, and that's an interesting distinction. You know, I talked to his coach, Greg Jackson, and he's like, Cowboy's a genius. He's a combat genius, but he needs to let himself be that and go out there and fight, you know, with the freedom that we often talk about these days, that what these guys are seeking is the ability to stay out of their own way and be able to do what they do best. And when Cowboy's doing that, he's doing it at 170 pounds. Maybe it's no coincidence. Maybe not putting himself through dehydration and starving and all those added pressures is taking some off him and letting him come into these fights to enjoy them and enjoy the hostilities.
We had Matt Brown, the other half of this equation, and being his first camp training with Dwayne Ludwig. I mean, this is someone who got off to a bit of a difficult start. Donald was landing a lot, but then turned things around. It was about midway through the first round, and then that continued into the second round. We saw a very solid Matt Brown tonight.
Very much so. You could really see his striking has never looked better. There are spaces within fights, spaces in time and spaces just, you know, in and around fighters where they're not defensively protecting themselves, and Matt started finding those. And not only finding them, but making them, creating them. And he really looked great out there. That was another spectacular fight on a night of spectacular fights. But, you know, I've tended to, at the last second, bet against Donald Cerrone lately. I will never do that again.
Is that because he called you on it?
He did call me on it. He pointed after the age, so you shouldn't bet against me. And Mr. Cerrone, I will not do that, sir.
Your main event, with all due respect to the headliners tonight, it was the featherweight bout between Choi and Cub Swanson. This was a fight of the year. I think a lot of people are going to be ticking this one off when they select their fight of the year. This was a war for 3 rounds. I don't think anyone's stock was hurt by this. Cub Swanson gets the victory, a unanimous decision. But you were stating earlier just how incredible you felt this fight was in all of the fights you have ever taken in.
It really was something very special, and we knew coming in that it could be based on how you put these two together at this moment in time. And, you know, Choi has the ability to diagnose your illness, look at you and find what is wrong with you from a perspective of being able to hit you and then put you to sleep. And Cub just didn't let that happen by being creative and free and different. But he also had to draw on the depths of that ferocity to push through when exhausted and hurt. It had everything. It really did. It's the greatest. It's one of the greatest fights I've ever seen, for certain, if not the greatest. I'm going to go back and I'm going to crank up some Mozart very, very loud and turn off the sound and just watch that fight a few times and take it in. That's what the art of fighting is. That is when fighting is something beautiful and something living is in a fight like that.
final thought on just any of the other performances we saw. A very big win, a must-win in my opinion for Kelvin Gastelum at middleweight. Misha Cirkunov getting a big win that some didn't see coming over Nikita Krylov, and of course Lando Venata.
Yeah, there's a lot. Both Misha and Ali Aubin-Mercier, they both had incredibly tough fights, and they both performed so incredibly well. It's great to see from some Canadians. Misha still has so much potential. It's scary. Like, he can absolutely be a top 5 fighter and beyond because he still has areas he can improve, and that's an exciting thing for him and the people he trains with. And Lando Venata, that spinning kick was elegant, and that's another one of those things. Fighting is a beautiful art form, and we saw that tonight.